what to do when you're being groomed. I'm jessxgoh, trauma coach in childhood abuse, and we can be groomed in all sorts of scenarios with all sorts of people, whether it's a sexual relationship with a parent or a relative, whether it's being coerced into having sex in the workplace by your boss or work colleague, or superiority, whether it's being forced and manipulated to go out on a date or relationship with someone that you really don't know. And it's important that you need to come from the adult version of yourself to the table when these circumstances occur, because the wounded inner child wouldn't know what to do with it. They would react, they would panic, they would freak out, or they would submit and be compliant, because that's the woundings of childhood trauma when it's not being healed and under control. So you are reinforcing your past experiences of trauma, particularly sexual abuse. And sexual abuse doesn't mean that you were penetrated or raped. It could just be that people are touching you or looking at you inappropriately or saying things to you that is sexually alluring, that is just not right. What you want to do is you want to bring the adult version of yourself to the table, calm down and pacify the wounded inner child, and let that adult part of you take back control and speak their truth and assert boundaries in an adult manner, not in a passive aggressive way, not in a bitchy or negative Nancy way, in an assertive way that's straight to the point. So to put it into perspective, I was asked by someone that I really don't know that well to catch up, and I appreciated him for dropping me off to the station because it was a 20-minute drive from the retreat to the train station. And I didn't know him that well. So he asked me if I could cook for him and invite him to my place. And I said no because I didn't feel it was appropriate. And I was happy to repay the favor by simply shouting him a cheap and cheerful lunch. And so I did. And as the conversation went on and we went for a walk along the beach, he asked questions that were very inappropriate. How old were you when you first had sex? What are you looking for in a relationship? And I had to assert some boundaries around that and said, no, it's none of your business. And what sort of question is that to ask a friend? Towards the end of the walk, he asked me if I would be interested in being in an open relationship with him. And I straight up said no. I didn't give him a reason. I just said no. And I said no because it came from a place from the adult part of me. The part of me that is protecting the wounded inner child. And the part of me that knows her boundaries. I know that if I acted from the wounded inner child, I would say yes, or I would say no and give a reason why, because I didn't want to feel guilty by saying no. And it shows how far I've come in my journey with my boundaries with men, and that I have the right to say no into doing something that is not right for me. And since we left off from that interaction, he deleted me off Facebook and I deleted his number because I don't ever want to see him again, and I have no intention to see him for a date or a relationship, let alone a friendship, because I felt along the way I was being groomed and I was trying to figure him out. So there you have it. I hope this scenario has helped you to get some clarity as to what you're going through. And if you feel that you want to take your journey further, you might be interested in my free webinar, How to Overcome the Impacts of Childhood Abuse in Just 3 Months, by clicking on the link below, and it will bring you to a different page to register so you can receive all the amazing juicy content. Feel free to subscribe to my YouTube channel. Click on the subscribe button, then the bell button, then the all button, so you get the latest notifications of my latest video blog. Feel free to share it with your loved ones who are also suffering in silence and don't know what to do. And comment below what sort of insights that you've got from it, any questions that you have, so I can use that to create the next video. All my love to you. Namaste.